Hello, welcome to Yotes Court. Now, clearly the most important part of the day will be when you get to open a bottle, pour something into a glass, and actually taste it. But have you got any idea about how much work goes into getting the wine into the bottle in the first place? Well, here's a clue. A lot. Now, the process starts with pruning the vines in the autumn to make sure that only 2 canes of good 1-year-old wood is left, coming from 2-year-old spurs, because this gives the vine the best possible chance of producing the maximum number of healthy bunches of grapes. All through the growing season, the team is constantly checking the vines, looking out for pests and diseases or even adverse weather that might harm the fruit. Yotes is one of the founder members of Sustainable Wines of Great Britain, which means minimising use of pesticides in spraying and allowing beneficial plants and insects to thrive between the vines. Being sustainably responsible with chemicals while still producing a high-quality crop takes care of our land, our staff, and ensures the health of our business. Tony and the team used the latest technology to make all that possible, including the most up-to-date local weather station and pheromone traps for recording pests, allied to vineyard mapping, detailed record keeping, and regular soil and leaf testing to monitor their health. In early spring, excess buds are removed from the trunk and vine heads to encourage even growth along the fruiting cane. As shoots and leaves grow, the vine is trained into the ideal shape to maximise sun exposure and airflow. And in late spring, the vines start to produce millions of tiny flowers, a process known as inflorescence. Since the flowers are self-pollinating, they need little help from wind or insects for the fruit to set, and every single flower has the potential to become a grape. Over the summer, canopy management is vital, balancing the need for heat and sunshine to ripen the fruit with shade to protect it from scorching. Eventually, the fruit is ripe for picking. But deciding the exact moment is one of the most important jobs in the vineyard. But it's not just down to gut instinct or guesswork, it's down to science. First, raw juice is gathered from the grapes, a very straightforward, hands-on process as the team gather samples from grapes in each sector. Then, in the lab, sodium hydroxide is added drop by drop until the juice turns black to give an exact measure of how much acid is in the grapes. Then a second test with a refractometer allows us to measure exactly how much sugar is in the grapes. And this is vital because in each bunch there's a balance of slightly sweeter and slightly more acidic fruits. You need the sugars to generate alcohol when the wine ferments, but you need the acids to add balance and freshness. Not enough acid and your wine will be flabby. And no one wants a flabby wine. The little grapes tend to be sweeter, the chicks, and the bigger grapes are more acidic, the hens. So if you don't have the right balance of chicks and hens, your wine will be foul. Foul! Oh, never mind. Different grape varieties have very different needs when it comes to picking. Most of the crop at Yotes is harvested by hand, but the Bacchus grapes are harvested using a groovy little tractor called Billy Whiz that actually shakes the grapes from their stalks. This increases juice to grape skin contact and amplifies the flavour profile. The grapes are collected in large bins in Yotes Court Pink, a half a tonne at a time, and taken immediately to the winery. It's a race against time because it's essential they aren't left to stand for too long, or the fruit will go bad and the wine will be ruined. While we all know that in the olden days grapes were pressed by peasants with their bare feet, these days it's a bit more high-tech. The grapes are pressed in a stainless steel tank where a kind of powerful balloon inflates to squeeze them against the sides. The raw juice is called must, and it's hazy with all sorts of bits that we don't want to end up in the bottle. So it's allowed to settle, and the clear grape juice is racked off the top into a tank. And this is where the magic happens. Yeast is added to the clarified must in a fermenting vessel, and the yeast literally eats the sugars and produces bubbles of CO2 and alcohol. Now, Yotes Court produces a variety of wines, so how come they're all so different? Well, our rosé, best turned out, is made with black Pinot Meunier grapes, a variety often used elsewhere to create champagne and sparkling wine. We allow some of the colour from the grape skins to seep into the must, giving it that distinctive, beautiful pale pink colour. For our on-the-nod Bacchus, meanwhile, the way the grapes are harvested, using Billy Whiz, means the methoxypyrazine aroma compounds, just under the grape skin, are activated by all the jostling. That creates an exceptionally fruity nose and a wine bursting with freshness and subtle floral aromas. Hands and Heels is created with Pinot Blanc grapes, and a proportion of the wines allowed to sit in small, seasoned French oak barrels called barriques during fermentation. The oak adds a subtle toastiness, as well as adding body and complexity. Loose Rain is our Pinot Gris offering. A beautiful copper pink-coloured variety, only the ripest grapes are suitable for making this wine. Again, a proportion is allowed to sit in those little French oak barriques, and it creates an elegant wine with a zesty lime finish. And then we have our sparkling wine, Live, Love, Laugh, named after one of Susanna and Rich's horses that won the Topham Chase at Aintree in 2021. With this wine, the Pinot Gris grapes are whole bunch pressed and fermented twice. Crucially, the second fermentation takes place in the bottle. The bottles are kept in temperature-controlled cellars for 6 months before the mysterious process of disgorgement happens, when the leftover yeast or lees is removed to create a bottle of perfectly clear, sparkling wine. All of our winemaking processes are free of any animal products, meaning they're all suitable for vegans, as well as anybody who enjoys a glass or two of truly fabulous English wine.